Welcome to another edition of Korins Tower. My name's Steven.
Hey, I'm Justin.
And we're here to talk to you today about Pulverize. Started off good, man. Started off good. Alright, so, Pulverize, physical attack, doing +3 power stages of damage. Banish 2 cards from your opponent's discard pile. At the end of combat, search your life deck for a physical combat or energy combat attack card and place it on top of your life deck. This card is good for any beatdown deck. It is amazing as long as you remember to search your deck for the card. I swear I've played over a half a dozen games where either myself or my opponent has forgotten to use that completely. It is an awesome power. Don't forget about it.
Oh, it's an amazing power, yeah. I mean, it's easy to forget about, though. I mean, you play the card and it gets stuck down in your discard pile somewhere out of sight. And, it's just like, kind of like the turns. Like, I forget who entered combat a lot of times. People use turn counters pretty regularly at tournaments and stuff. It's kind of like this. You got to remind yourself somehow that you played the card just so you can remember it. There's so many things going on during combat. It's easy to forget.
Right, especially if you have one of those, 15, 20-minute long combats, It's
Yeah.
First card I'm playing is Pulverize. You're not going to remember in 15, 20 minutes you played Pulverize.
No, definitely not.
But on top of the awesome effect, it's not only just a good beatdown card for a physical attack at +3, which is still the average as it should be, or it's good. And then you have the good end of combat effect, which allows you to set your deck up for next combat, especially if you're beat down, or if you need to search for if you need to search for Wall Breaker, you need to search for the anti-Wall Breaker card. You just can straight get it with it. But it also allows you to banish 2 cards from your opponent's discard pile. That is a big deal.
Oh yes. There's so much discard pile manipulation going on right now. So much. I mean, any chance you get to remove cards from your opponent's discard pile. And this one is any 2 of your choice even. So that's even better. I mean, you need to take advantage of that as much as possible, I think.
Yeah, and I definitely know people that they're still running Devastating Blow. Not saying that the card's bad or anything, but the card is really good still. But if you're wanting to still get some beatdown in, your physical +1 from the Devastating Blow is not going to be that much, but a lot of people are still running it just because it banishes, 3 cards and it lowers 2 anger. You don't get the anger lowering on here, but you actually can, replace at least that part of the Devastating Blow with the banish 2 cards out of Pulverize, and then use another card that has a harder hitting attack that still lowers the anger. So you're kind of getting, you're still kind of getting your Devastating Blow out of it, but you're actually you're gaining more damage output, which is really nice.
Oh yeah, you're gaining a lot of damage. I mean, not just from the extra 2 power stages, but from the fact that you get any attack you want from your deck to put on top. I mean, that alone is huge. Of course, you have to be willing to sacrifice that anger from the Devastating Blow, but the trade-off is pretty massive. Of course, you can also just run both of them in your deck if you want to.
Oh yeah,
they make it a little crowded on the freestyle cards in that case, but
You could, or you just have a little fun with it and be like, you know what, I'm going to Pulverize, and in combat I'm going to search for Devastating Blow and put it on top.
I mean, I just see like a Trunks deck running, 3 Pulverizes and 3 Devastating Blows with the 3 Trunk Sword Slashes.
Okay.
And if it were black style on top of it, it'd just be ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically if you're the defender, though, in that case, if you're the defender, you get, well, no. I was like, man, I'm trying to help out Trunks here, man. Put the card on top, you'll know what it is, so you can actually name it, like reveal it when entering.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, it doesn't really help that effect, though.
No, you really just do that anyways.
Yeah. Trunks needs help, bros. Come on, help. Alright. So, on to the next card. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh yeah, Namekian Flinch.
Namekian Flinch. Good old Flinch. This is, in my opinion, one of the best Namekian cards currently available. It's from the first set. But there's just so much happening on this card. I mean, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, that's pretty neat. I didn't really, it didn't sink in that it has like 12 effects on the card. And it has so many different uses. I mean, to just the parentheses effects, right? If it's rejuvenated, search your discard pile for an ally and place it to play at 3 stages above 0. I mean, seriously, I don't know how many times I use that just about every single game I play with my Namekian decks, because I run 3 of these in my Namekian decks, all of them. And I think every Namekian deck should, if you're running some sort of Dragon Balls or allies, either way. I mean, it's ridiculous. You get to abuse the hell out of your allies. I mean, if they don't banish them, you're just going to keep getting them back and keep getting them back. Because, Namekian Flinch isn't banished itself, so you just use it and then rejuvenate it and get your allies back. And on top of that is the physical defense that lets you shuffle a Dragon Ball and play back into its owner's life deck. A Dragon Ball, not yours, not your opponent's, anyone's. Any Dragon Ball back into its owner's life deck. Which, that is amazing. If you're playing, say your opponent's playing a Dragon Ball Victory deck, maybe, and they're about to win, you can shuffle one of their balls back in. Or maybe you're playing a Dragon Ball deck and they've captured one of your Dragon Balls. You can shuffle it back into your own deck. And if you're Namekian, of course, if you're playing Namekian Flinch, you get an anger from your mastery because you shuffle your Dragon Ball back into your deck. Mm-hmm. And to top that all off, if your MP is level 3 or higher, you search your life deck for a Dragon Ball and play it. Not place into play. Which, honestly, this card should say, to be honest. I mean, it's just got so much else going for it. You play it. You get to use the full immediate effects of that Dragon Ball. I can't tell you how many times this card has been abused. I mean, it's just constant abuse from this card. The last tournament that I went to last Saturday, every Namekian deck that I saw was just abusing this card so much. I mean, yes, it is a physical defense, so your opponent has to attack you with a physical attack in order for you to really use it properly. But, if they do, it's just so many amazing things. Do you have anything to go? Like, I could just keep talking about this card. I mean, I'll let you try and get a word in.
No, you're good, man. This card is amazing. It's really good. I'm just trying to think of something you haven't mentioned already about it. But I mean, there's literally a lot of stuff about this, and in my Namekian decks that I've made. I mean, obviously, I go for MPP when it comes to Namekian, just because that's my play style with red, anyways, for the most part. But I mean, there's so many times that this card got abused to say, oh, I need Dragon Ball 2. Oh, wait, no, you know what? I think I need Dragon Ball 3 in this situation. This is, I happen to draw into a whole bunch of non-combats and I got one physical defense. Oh, you played a physical attack? Cool. I have a whole new entire hand because I just got Dragon Ball 3, back into play. Or, I literally shuffled it in my deck and played it. Or, hey, look at that. I'm trying to win by MVP. I'm going to shuffle Dragon Ball 5 in, and I'm going to play it. Oh, goodness. So you play it during combat, you're going to gain 2 anger off of it. You gain another anger for Namekian Flint, shuffling back in your deck. 3 anger off of 1 Dragon Ball. I mean, you can increase your anger by a whole bunch. You can even lower anger a little bit with the Dragon Ball 3. You can completely rechange your hand. You can go ahead and stack your deck with Dragon Ball 7. You can keep them from winning by MPP. I mean, you literally have complete control. As long as they perform 1 physical attack, you literally can do whatever you want with this card.
You really can. I mean, even, like, if, say your opponent's playing Garlic Jr. or something, he's level 4, you can't capture his Dragon Balls, it doesn't matter. This doesn't capture the Dragon Balls. Huh. Say, if you're running a mech and you have a full set of Dragon Balls in your deck, shuffle one of his balls back into his deck, and then get that same one out from your deck. You have effectively captured the Dragon Ball without capturing it.
Yeah.
And because the new Dragon Ball's coming into play, he's going to discard the top part of his deck from your mastery. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Or you can swap one of your Dragon Balls that you already have in play that's not really helping you for a different one that's helpful to the situation, like you were just saying. Or maybe you have a Dragon Ball in play that you don't want your opponent taking. You can shuffle it back into your deck and pull out a safer one that doesn't really matter. Maybe Dragon Ball 1 or 6 that doesn't have an immediate effect for them to use if they capture it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there's so much going on with this card that really, if you're playing a deck that can get rid of this in any way, you should do so. If you're playing those Pulverizers or the Devastating Blow or any sort of black, scout maneuvers, anything like that, you should get rid of this card, honestly. Mm-hmm. If you're playing Namekian, you got a black scout maneuver, name Namekian Flinch, just do it and save yourself the hassle.
Yeah.
Just do it, honestly.
Yeah, and one last thing on that for me at least is there's so many times that it really bugs me that, I go in with, like, shoulder grab. I know I play red, so I know a lot of red stuff here. But, like, I'll go with shoulder grab or something that, I'm planning on getting a crit on my next attack. Or even if that attack might get me a crit. Like, I'll go in and be like, okay, cool, he's got 2 Dragon Balls. I'm gonna go ahead and crit real quick and gain a Dragon Ball. And he plays this card and shuffles the Dragon Ball back in, doesn't search for one. I'm like, no, there's a defense that literally allows him to keep me from capturing his Dragon Balls if he has 2 in play.
Oh yeah,
and it's just it gets frustrating on the attacker side.
I agree that same scenario has happened to me several times. Like going and expecting to capture a Dragon Ball, and they take it. They take it away. Like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to let you do that. Or actually, let me replace that Dragon Ball you were going to capture with something that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this card.
Go on and on and on.
We should probably move on.
Probably. What do we got next? Oh, well. Yeah. It's a Geisha Strike, man. I wish it wasn't villains only. To a couple of my friends out there that mentioned the same thing at Miniature Exchange. Yeah, we all wish it wasn't villains only. Because we all play hero decks, but it's awesome. So, Geisha Strike, villains only, limit 2 per deck. Physical attack, damage at +3 stages. This attack is considered to deal critical damage. You may choose for this attack to deal no damage. If you do, it cannot be stopped. Alright, where do we start with this one? So, it is the, I guess the card that was meant to be anti-wall breaker, specifically since villains didn't have one because heroes had the, forget the name offhand, the energy attack.
I can't remember it either. Heroic Assault, actually.
Assault, Something Assault.
Is it Heroic Assaults?
No. Dang it. I don't have it handy. Anyways,
we're unprepared.
Everybody knows what we're talking about. Yeah, yeah. So, this is a villain version, essentially, but it's a physical attack instead of energy, so if you're physical beatdown, it's perfect for you. But it has a lot of other stuff. It deals critical damage, so you can actually use it to lower an anger, grab a Dragon Ball, or kill an ally. If you don't care about the damage, you can just straight make it unstoppable. If you're red, you gain an anger from it, because you get to use a critical damage effect. I mean, there's a lot more than just getting rid of Wallbreaker with this card. This card is really awesome. I would run 3 if I could, but I'm running 2 in my red villain deck to test it out. And it is just amazing to be able to just straight have a physical attack that has the option to make it unstoppable. Yeah, no damage, but you automatically get the crit. You automatically can get around a Wallbreaker. You can automatically capture Dragon Ball. You can automatically kill an ally. You automatically can lower an anger and gain an anger if you're red. I mean, this card is just amazing. It
really is. I mean, the automatic critical effect, it really is the big deal. But also, if you think about it, it can't be stopped either. So if you're playing against an orange deck that has their drills out or their defense shield drills, it breaks the drills. The drill stops the first unstopped attack. Well, it doesn't matter because this attack can't be stopped. So you're going to nullify the drill as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the automatic, really, the main usage, of course, is the fact that you get an automatic critical effect. Sure, there are other cards that have automatic critical effects, but they don't get around Wallbreaker. A critical effect is using, if you deal critical damage, you can use a critical effect. But just using a critical effect is not the same thing as dealing critical damage.
No, that's a big difference.
Right.
So, yeah. But I love this card, and I think every villain should have 2 in there, even if you're not playing it as, anti-Wallbreaker. If for some reason Wallbreaker ever fizzles out, I mean, if you're a physical beatdown deck, this card is still worthy for villains to use for many different situations.
Oh, absolutely. I run it in my Dragon Ball deck, my Lord Slug Dragon Ball deck, and I really do. It's just another one of those cards to capture Dragon Ball back, among many, many other things, mind you.
Right. That Lord Slug can already do.
Yes.
Good card. All right, what's next on the agenda? Oh, Captain Ginyu.
Good old Captain Ginyu. Yes, everybody hates playing against the Ginyu personality, but we're talking about the Ginyu ally this time. And he basically just has the same effect as the blue drill, the blue observation drill, I think it's called. Your opponent plays with his hand revealed. But you don't have to be blue. You just have to be a villain, and that's it. And the only deck I've actually used this in, because I don't really play villains that much, is my Lord Slug deck. Namekian Lord Slug deck. And I have to say, using this with the card we just talked about, Namekian Flinch, which gets an ally back from discard pile when you rejuvenate it, is just absurd. Because Lord Namekian is so control-oriented that if you have this in play, and you're able to keep continuously getting it back in play, you're basically just going to win. I mean, you're going to always see your opponent's hand. And unless they're playing Ginyu as well, or they have the blue observation drill, you just have a massive advantage on them throughout the entire game. He's just one of those allies that they have to banish him if they really want to get rid of him. Because if you get him back, I mean, it's a game changer, honestly. Being able to see what your opponent is doing is. There's only 2 cards that can really let you do this, at all times, that have the constant effect that do that. And I think that's one of the most powerful effects in the game right now that people don't really take seriously. They're like, oh, well, he can just see my hand. What's the big deal? Well, I mean, the whole point of the game is kind of you play something, your opponent counters that, and they try to predict what you're going to do, and try and work around what they think you might be doing. Well, you don't have to guess anymore. There's no more guesswork. You know what they're going to do. It makes your job so much easier deciding what you want to play and when you want to play it. This is just an extremely powerful card. I think, honestly, any villain deck should run this guy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the value of this card is underrated as well because, I mean, you already mentioned the fact that, people just don't really see it as, oh, they see my hand, whoop-de-doo. But also, the more skilled player you are, the more valuable this card is to you because you can come in here against someone that has no skill and seeing their hand might not really make that big of a difference. It's like, okay, they can figure out, obviously, mathematically, okay, well, he's got a couple defenses that's going to stop these attacks, so I'm going to play these in a certain order. But, I mean, the higher skill level you have, the more value this card has because you can easily look at your opponent's hand and be like, okay, well, I'm really good at this game, and now I literally see your hand, I won this combat. Easily, hands down, I can win this combat just by seeing your hand. I mean, that's how powerful it can be, if you're really skillful at this game.
Oh yes.
Next card? We good for the next card? Next card?
I think so. I think we've talked about Ginyu. I mean, it's straightforward power. Not really a whole lot to say, except he is very powerful. Don't underestimate him.
Nope. I still don't like him.
I mean, he is the reason I won several of my games at the last tournament that I went to. Definitely. He is the reason. I'll just put that out there.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So Gohan. Gohan trained the ally. Alright, let's see here. Heroes only, constant effect. Whenever a player raises his anger, change that amount to 1. Alright.
Yes. It seems strange because Gohan, you would think is, he's an angry personality, right? He wants to gain anger, so it's weird that his ally kind of does the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. It's still a cool effect. I mean, you change that amount to 1. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how many he's raising. You change it to 1. This stops so many of the personality cards which level up. It stops the Goku's Kaioken. It stops the Captain Ginyu's body switch. What is it? The Trunks. I forget the name of the card. The Trunks 1 in set 2 that levels you up.
Trunks Sword Stance.
Trunks Sword Stance. Yes, because they all say you gain 6 anger. They don't say level up like the Lord Slug's Regeneration just says advance or lower your MP 1 level. No, they say you gain 6 anger. Yep. Well, if Gohan's in play, you only gain 1. And that's a huge deal.
Right.
Just nullifying that card, basically. I mean, you're taking a huge advantage away from those personalities because when they have that specifically in mind when they build their deck. Like, oh, I'm Goku, I'm going to use Kaioken. Or I'm Ginyu. I know Ginyu's body switch is extremely powerful for Ginyu decks. And if you have Gohan in play and they can't get rid of him, that's a massive, massive blow to Ginyu. If he can't use his body switch and he can't gain those levels, he's just going to be stuck on level 1. If he doesn't have other means to raise his anger properly. Or just against any MPP deck in general. There's a lot of red cards and a lot of black cards that gain 2 anger. And this will slow them down to a crawl, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're playing blue. It's like, all right, I have to hit 6 anger and I have to gain 1 anger at a time? Really? I mean, that sucks.
Right, yeah. Yeah, if you're playing blue, I mean, it'll be so easy to keep your opponent from leveling up because you don't have, you only gain 1 at a time, so you don't have to worry about them jumping up a couple of anger all at once. You have more time to plan to lower their anger and keep them from advancing a personality.
I can't wait until they release a card that somehow it allows you to gain 0 anger, but it's X or something. And it comes out it can be 0. It'd be so hilarious to have some play and be like, you know what? I normally would gain 0 anger, but guess what? Because of Gohan, I gain 1.
That's true. It would work. But I don't know why.
I don't know.
Raise your anger by 0.
Hey, if it ever happens though, here's a combo card for it.
Yeah.
All right. And last card of the day, rounding down, or are we? Black Command.
Yeah.
So, Black Command event from set 1. If this card is discarded from your hand, raise your anger 2 levels and shuffle this card into your life deck. What? Endurance 1. Power. It has a power? Banish the top 5 cards of your opponent's discard pile. If it's less than 5 cards, if less than 5 cards are banished, your opponent destroys the top 3 cards of his life deck. I've only ever had that happen to me once, by the way.
Yeah, who actually uses Black Command as an action, honestly? I don't know of anybody that actually uses it as an action. They just use the parentheses effect and discard it from their hand. Yeah. I honestly, nobody has ever used this card on me. Ever. Not a single time. It's always just discarding it for the anger. Mm-hmm. Because it's so I mean, obviously with your Black Master you can do it every combat, but no, it's not only that. It doesn't say if it's discarded from your hand by a card effect. Mm-mm. No, it's just if it's discarded from your hand, just for whatever reason. If you want to pass at the end of your turn, say you don't enter combat, pass at the end of the turn, discard this from your hand when you're discarding down to 1 card, or 2 if you have the Blacksmith String, then you get to shuffle it back into your deck and gain 2 anger. That is anger gain outside of combat. That is so powerful. 2 anger, mind you. And it's shuffled back into your deck so you can get it again. So you can keep doing it. Mm-hmm. And the way I see it, honestly, is it's kind of similar to the way the Namekian Mastery was initially before they eroded it. Where the Namekian Mastery used to say, whenever you shuffle or rejuvenate cards into your deck, you get an anger. And it didn't matter. You didn't have to be in combat. You do now. But this is kind of similar. Like, the old Namekian decks could just sit there and pass and pass and pass and eventually win by MPP, and you're putting pressure on your opponent by essentially doing nothing. You're just sitting there passing, and your opponent is pressured to do something or you're going to win. That's kind of how I see Black Command working. Because if a black deck wants to, if they're trying to win by MPP, they can just pass and pass and pass and keep recycling Black Command, getting 2 anger every single time, putting pressure on the opponent, and just setting themselves up for victory. And It's an extremely powerful card. I don't like the card. I don't play black myself, so I don't like the card because I only ever play against it. I'll never use it. Yeah. But oh my god, it is an extraordinarily powerful card.
Yeah, and I feel set 3 actually made it even more powerful because I mean in set 1 and 2, if you really wanted to do MPPV, I mean, and you can correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong here, but in set 1 and 2, you were relying on being an energy offensive deck to actually gain enough anger or a decent amount of anger to even compete for MPPV. And this was a big card. If you really wanted to try to do that, you might get it here and there, but you didn't get it often enough for it to actually matter. Like, what you're kind of talking about for the, kind of like a reference to the Mechian thing. But now that set 3's out, you have a whole bunch of physical attacks that gain you anger, which help combo with energy attacks and this card, and on top of that there's a lot of Garlic Jr. decks out there, so not only are you now on a timer for having to worry about them winning by MPP with Black Command just cycling outside of combat, but most of those new people are playing Black Garlic Jr. and they have 7 Dragon Balls. So you got a Dragon Ball timer and you got an MPP timer, and he's like popping levels really fast and he's capturing Dragon Balls really fast because he's gaining anger outside of combat, which his level 3 is allowing him to capture a freaking Dragon Ball outside of combat and comboing all these other things that it seems really chaotic and broken.
It does. It does seem a little broken when comboed with Garlic Jr. because I did play against a Black Garlic Jr. MPP/Dragon Ball deck in the tournament that I played in last weekend, and he used Black Command about 6 times that game, and he ended up winning by MPP. I almost beat him. Narrowly. He narrowly won. But it was because of this card, because he got to reuse Black Command so many times. In several occasions, he did exactly what you said. He was on level 3, used Black Command, and captured a Dragon Ball outside of combat. And I was sitting there thinking I was safe. I got a couple of Dragon Balls in play. Yeah, he's Garlic Jr., he's going to capture him anyways. But not right now. He at least has to come into combat and do something. Oh, no. No. He doesn't have to do that. He can just sit over there on his side and win by MPP or Dragon Ball victory. Like you said, just passing, putting pressure on me, and really, he's not even doing anything, and he's gaining a massive advantage.
Yeah, it's crazy, and this card even has more safety than other cards. Like, unless you're playing black, where you can just straight search their deck for it. If they use this card, it's literally going right back in their deck. Like if they use it for the gaining anger, it goes right back in their deck. It's not like, oh, it hits their discard pile and then they have to regenerate it and I can banish it in between. No, you don't have a chance to do that. You literally, the only chance you have to get rid of this is if you're playing black or you got some card like Piccolo Special Beam Cannon, you name it. Like it's really hard to get rid of this card if you're not playing a specific style for the most part.
It definitely is, yeah. And that's one of the things that I think honestly that's one of the problems with the card from a design perspective, is that it's so difficult to stop, because like you said, it shuffles back into their deck. I mean, how do you get rid of it unless you yourself are playing black, or like you said, Piccolo Special Beam Cannon? Yeah. You really can't. You just have to get lucky and deal enough damage, and hopefully there's a black command in there somewhere, and then you can banish from their discard pile if they decide not to use the endurance. But yeah, it shuffles itself back in. It's so difficult to get rid of, and it's a very powerful card. I mean, honestly, if you're running and you want anger for whatever reason, which you probably do, you're going to run 3 of these.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. And I know that, because I like dealing with combos here, I know that a lot of people are doing Black Garlic Jr., but just a heads up, because I haven't seen anybody do this yet. I mean, I've seen it in set 1, set 2, obviously, but I haven't seen it since set 3. Black Piccolo. Piccolo's awesome. He's got his weighted clothing. He's got his level 2, which actually allows you to discard Black Command from his power, drawing a card. Super MPP. I kind of want to see that. So if anybody's got a deck list on a really good Black Piccolo with set 3 cards in it, I really want to see that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm sure it'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, the Black Piccolo in set 1 and 2 was pretty good. So set 3, I'm sure he would be even more powerful.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. So thank you for watching. As always, like if you like. Down at the bottom, please comment. Tell us about any combos or any cards you want us to talk about, review. Anything that seems interesting. Thank you for watching. I want to give a big thanks to Fearless for our intro music. It is amazing.
Did a fantastic job.
Yeah, it is amazing. The link for Fearless will be below, as well as some other links. Please check them out. And once again, thanks for watching, and you'll